I think we are live now. So, goedenavond iedereen. First in Dutch, I said right. Goedenavond iedereen en heel hartelijk welkom op deze Hypnotic Live met Cormac Colleran. Je hoort het al, geen Nederlandstalige naam, een Engelstalige. En met heel veel plezier maken we dan ook dit jaar de switch. En zorgen ervoor dat er ook buitenlandse sprekers op Hypnotic aanwezig zijn. So, Cormac, good evening.
Good evening.
I will let you first present yourself to the audience, and then we'll see where it takes us. So feel free to present yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cormac Colleran. I'm based in Dublin in Ireland. I've been a hypnotherapist for about 12 years, a coach for about 15 years, and I am specializing in the area of addiction. There's been a big rise, certainly in Ireland, and I think right across Europe and maybe the world, in cocaine use and cocaine addiction. I've seen it skyrocket since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's been a big need for that where I am. And so I've been specializing in that area, helping people to overcome it, and training therapists in the processes that I use so that we can get out there and help people, help the world, help people to overcome these horrible addictions.
Yeah, but you started 12 years ago with hypnosis. You first started as a coach, or how do I have
Yes, so previous, I worked in the medical device and pharmaceutical sectors.
Okay.
And I used to work in, so all of that is around continuous improvement of processes. It's a highly regulated industry.
Oh, yes.
And so my saying now is I used to work in the continuous improvement of processes. Now I work in the continuous improvement of people.
Okay, great.
And I knew it wasn't for me. I knew it always a strong interest in psychology and a strong interest in human behavior and how we can influence human behavior. That led me to jumping out of the science industry and moving into coaching. And I worked a number of years in coaching. I worked in life coaching, business coaching. And one of the things that I found was we can create a path forward for our client. We can create goals and set SMART goals. Mm-hmm. We can identify obstacles and identify ways around the obstacles. And we can have a wonderful plan set for a client. And then we can find there's inertia. There's no movement. Mm-hmm. There's just something that's preventing them. Now, that led me to studying about the unconscious mind. It led me via NLP into hypnotherapy.
Okay.
And I guess I became a hypnotherapist in order to become a better coach.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got more into it, there seemed to be a lot of demand for the work that I was doing. So I guess I kind of rebranded as a hypnotherapist. And I've been doing that then for about 12 years in hypnotherapy.
Right. But you haven't always specialized in addictions, have you?
No, I haven't. You know, we're told a lot of time, especially people starting out in hypnotherapy business, choose a niche. I didn't choose a niche.
Mm-hmm.
I say to people, if it's an unwanted thought, an unwanted feeling, or an unwanted behavior, I can help you get rid of it.
Right.
So I've worked with many things. I've worked through pain control, the obvious ones, the smoking, weight loss, anxiety, insomnia, phobias, the ones that people generally come to us with. But addiction, I have worked in it, but I haven't always specialized in it. I've run trainings and diploma trainings, but more recently, I have been working, putting a lot of work into creating a program specifically for addiction, specifically for cocaine addiction. However, the great thing about the program is you can use it for any addiction. It's very much transferable. In fact, a lot of the stuff that I teach, I look at patterns of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the subconscious pattern that the person is running? So let's say it's an addiction. We will say that there's a part of the person that wants to be free and there's a part of them that wants to take this drug. That part of them wants to take the drug, it has a positive intention.
Yeah, definitely.
So we look at intention versus strategy. The intention is positive. make the person feel different, feel better. The strategy, however, is lethal. The strategy is all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're looking at speaking to the unconscious mind. You've learned this strategy, you've learned this pattern.
Mm-hmm.
We help the unconscious mind to release that pattern. So we work with it to help it, first of all, agree to do it. And then we give it some really cool ways that we can isolate the unconscious mind to release those patterns and let them go. Now, the great thing about it is, so I've just, as you know, Nelly, I've just trained 60 therapists this past weekend worldwide on these processes. And what they began to realize by midway through the second day, and I got that from the questions they were asking, is that the process I taught them around addiction and cocaine addiction
Yeah.
can be used for pretty much anything, because we're going to the pattern. What's the pattern that they're running? So
Yeah.
phobia is a pattern. It's got a trigger and a response.
Yeah.
And anxiety is a pattern. It's got a trigger and response. Emotional eating is a pattern. It's got a trigger and response.
Mm-hmm.
So while it is focused and specialized on addiction to help addicts, the processes are very much interchangeable.
Right. And this is what you are going to talk about at Hypnotic, right?
This is
It's
what I'm
my
looking forward to
understanding.
speaking about. Yes. So I'm going to, so the idea is to help people to think a little bit different about addiction. To oftentimes as therapists, we focus on the behavior itself
Mm-hmm.
rather than the underlying pattern that motivates that behavior and what makes a person do it. So when your client can understand that the part of them that's driving that behavior has a positive intention,
Mm-hmm.
it can really help them to go, maybe I don't have a crazy mind. Maybe my mind isn't, a bad, or it's an unworthy mind. Maybe it's just doing what it was meant to do, just a strategy it chose in order to achieve that need. That was wrong.
Yeah, it's really looking for the gift in the addiction and using that really to get out of it, not?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, looking for the gift in it. And, it reminds me of, in order to, when we help people to future pace them out into the future,
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of suggesting to someone that what was a problem for them in the past, that there's a point out in the future when they can look back and maybe see it as a gift or a valuable learning experience. So it reframes everything to do with it. So they're not left with these scars of shame from the past.
Exactly. Yeah.
They can actually decide, you know what, that was a learning experience for me, if I look at it that way.
Yeah, that's one of the most important things I've learned also in the coaching and the therapy, that shame is one of the worst feelings people can have, because it just blocks them also from evolving. So if you can indeed see the gift in things, the shame goes away and you can evolve. Not?
Yeah. And isn't it a wonderful way for us to empower our clients to move forward?
Definitely. Yeah, that's for sure. But you are not only working with addictions, so you will talk about this addiction program at Hypnotic more in detail. So you have a lot of time indeed to explain it nicely. It's not a training course of 2 days, of course, but people can
Yeah.
get at least a taste of the program itself. So that's great. Which other things have you worked with in the past? Because you are now specializing really in these addictions, but definitely you are still working with other topics as well, besides the traditional ones you already mentioned. What's the most remarkable experience you remember from since you started doing what you are doing today?
Well, here's one that was fun for me. And I do like working with teenagers.
Okay.
And I had a mom bring a 15 or 16-year-old girl into me. And the girl had what might be diagnosed as Tourette's.
Mm-hmm.
So she had expressions. And so we sat down and talked, and she had these expressions in school, and they explained it to the teachers. And the girl showed me her expressions. And forgive me now, viewers, while I show you the expressions. One of them was you.
Mm-hmm.
Other ones were, and she had a few. And as she was showing them to me, I kind of thought, I said, which one of those is the most fun to do? And she goes, oh, definitely this one. So, 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 um, if you get, if you have bubble wrap, if you get a package delivered and there's bubble
Yes,
wrap, who
yes.
doesn't like popping the bubble wrap?
I do like it, yeah.
Yes. So it's a little bit of relief. And so what the young lady was experiencing from that was a little bit of relief. So it's the same as someone like popping their hair or pulling their eyelid, pulling their eyebrows. It's the same
Mhm.
kind of thing. And when, first of all, I helped her realize that it wasn't weird. She had a self-esteem issues because of it. And I helped her realize it wasn't weird. And I actually helped her. I said to her, I think that's pretty cool. That's how, do you mind if I have a go? And I had a go and we had a little joke about it. And I helped her to understand that the reason that that was happening was because it was a way of just relieving a feeling.
Yeah, dealing, yeah.
And,
Regulating.
and again, we look at what was the underlying pattern. It was to change how I feel in that moment. And the subconscious mind was choosing these ways, which she understood herself were inappropriate for being in a school.
Mhm.
And so she wanted to get rid of them. And I did a process with her that I've evolved myself in my clinic called the ICAN Transformational Protocol. It's ICAAN Transformation Protocol. And within the mum brought her back to me 2 weeks later just to reinforce. I said it would be a good idea to meet again, we'll reinforce. But when she brought her back 2 weeks later, she said it hasn't happened at all anymore.
Mhm.
It was gone, and the girl was feeling a lot more confident. I always, and I would advise any hypnotherapist out there, if you're working with teenagers, no matter what the issue is for, add in a little bit of confidence building for them. Just do it. It's such a lovely gift to give them, and you can see them change. And because they're at that kind of malleable age, and there's a lot of self-consciousness and all that, if we can give them a gift like that, it can change their lives from that age. It really can. So
Definitely.
that was one that just sprung to mind there, that was particularly enjoyable for me. And the young girl herself, she was really a joy to work with.
I can imagine it must have been fun as well for her as for you. So
It was, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
She came back into me 2 weeks later, like she was delighted to come in. She had a big smile on her face. Was really happy.
yeah, and it's really rewarding for you as a therapist as well, right? To see
It's
this
just
and
so much energy.
realize what you are doing on a daily basis is fantastic. It's really helping people. So, how do you see the role of hypnotherapy in the modern healthcare, Cormac? Because quite often we are still put in a corner somewhere, pushed aside. What's
It's
your
funny.
your view on this?
I've trained lots of psychotherapists and counselors and CBT therapists. And so I don't know exactly what the system is in Belgium, but here in Ireland, if someone goes to their GP and says they have anxiety, the GP will recommend medication
Mm.
and will send them to counseling and psychotherapy. Now, we know that counseling and psychotherapy, sure, it has its uses, of course it does, and it can be
Definitely, yeah.
useful for people. Also, what I find is so many people come to me and they've said to me, well, I've done therapy for the last 3 years and
Hmm.
it's helped. I'm going, 3 years and it's helped. You still have your anxiety. And I would love, I mean, it seems like a nice cozy little number between GPs and psychotherapists and the associations and organizations.
Hmm.
Um, I would really love for, I mean, anyone that's worked with something like anxiety can understand that we get changes quickly and we get life-changing results very quickly. And I don't like this idea of diagnosing.
Hmm.
Um, I know it's required for in the medical field. I just don't like it personally myself. So I'll never work with a diagnosis. If someone tells me I've got chronic anxiety or chronic depression, I want to reframe that straight away. And what I'll work with is the experience the person has. And so you'll find me here in my office lots of times if someone comes to me with anxiety, and I will pick up my glass and I'll say, that's a glass, I can pick it up and put it down. There's a pen, I can pick it up and put it down. People that have studied NLP will know Richard Bandler talks about, can you put it in a wheelbarrow?
Yeah.
Anxiety is not a thing. It's not a noun. It's not. It's an action. It's a verb. You do not have anxiety. You do anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And once your client understands that it's something that you do, immediately they're empowered, right? Otherwise, if it's an outside force acting upon you, you're disempowered. You're a victim. There's nothing you can do.
Exactly.
Once they understand it's something that they're doing, unconsciously, of course, when they understand it's something that they're doing, now they become empowered. And I generally suggest them, and I'll tell you just the 3 ways that they do anxiety. You do it with your thoughts, you do it with your inner voice, and you do it with your body, like where you're carrying tension.
Yeah.
And the more that your client can become aware of how they're doing it, that awareness helps, and that helps them in their normal daily lives, but will also in hypnosis help the unconscious mind to recognize the pattern and shove it in a different direction.
Yeah.
I think there's, going back to the question of the role of it in modern healthcare. Honestly, I think it's a shame that it's not way higher up there on the list of priorities, and that, like, where people are sent. There's a private hospital not far from where I am here. It's one of the biggest in Europe. And 2 of the pain professors there send me their clients when there's nothing they can do and they know it's psychological. They send people down to me. I do have doctors that I've worked with myself that send people to me for anxiety and insomnia. So I don't know if it's fair to say the more enlightened GPs and doctors are considering hypnotherapy. Because if I'm saying that, that might mean the others aren't enlightened. Maybe they're more restricted by fears of liability. Maybe they're more restricted by...
Yeah, but they just don't know. That's maybe also the thing, that they don't know what hypnosis can really mean.
Yeah, they don't have an understanding of it. And they get trained in their box. Their box is to match symptoms with medication. In a lot of that might be simplifying it. I appreciate that, but for a big part of it, it's what's the symptom, what's the medication for it, and maybe it is the onus is upon us in the hypnotherapy world to educate GPs, to educate the decision makers in modern health systems. I certainly feel that, like something obvious like helping people to quit smoking. I mean, that's going to help a lot, isn't it, for a population? It's going to help a lot for health systems. Like smoking and diabetes are two big reasons that people end up in hospitals.
Yes.
We can help to massively reduce that. It's kind of like the modern health system is missing a trick, really.
Yeah, and it's a pity, because if you read about hypnosis and the history of it, it has always been treated in this way that I wonder, but how? Because if everybody would know about hypnosis and use it even for themselves, we would have a different world.
Yeah, and there's talk about the history of it, and is it James Esdale that I think he was a British GP, and he was a hypnotherapist. He learned hypnosis, and he was using hypnotherapy for doing amputations where there was no medical anesthetic. But he wasn't doing it in London or Liverpool or Manchester. He was doing it in Calcutta. And maybe he had to be that, out there a little bit. I don't know what you say, pariah or something. Maybe he had to be that person out there in order to do that. They were saying, oh, it's okay. It's in Calcutta. You can get away with it.
Yeah.
But you can't do it here in the Royal Victoria Hospital in London.
Yeah, but we do see this evolution more and more, that also in hospitals here, hypnosis starts being used also by medical practitioners, or there are close collaborations with hypnotherapists who are helping, especially with back problems, for instance, and dealing with pain, uh, anesthetics. Also, there's one hospital I am aware of on the other side of the country where they are using hypnosis as an anesthetic. So I think it's a wonderful evolution,
Mhm.
but nevertheless, we are not yet there. We still seem to be considered here and there as the pariahs of something,
Mhm.
uh, which is a pity. But we'll see how it evolves. I hope Hypnotic also adds to the knowledge about hypnosis, where people can learn about it and see you speak about your addiction program and get further interest into it, because it is a wonderful thing we are doing.
And it is important. And we were speaking before going live about the importance of bringing people together, and bringing people together in the way that you're doing it here, Nelly, with Hypnotic, um, and that we can, like, together we're stronger.
Hmm.
If we can be together and we can um, be singing off the same hymn sheet, as they say,
Yeah, nice one.
that, yes, that then we are stronger, and we've got a stronger voice, and we can
Mhm.
bring consistency of message out to that world out there as well. And I think that's really important. I know in my area, so I do have GPs send people to me. I have dentists send people to me.
Yeah, so do I.
I went down, you're talking about pain control. I had to have a root canal treatment myself. It's
Okay.
about 2 or 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of going to be a labored one. It was a 90 minute, and they had a specialist come in to the dentist that day to do it. And I said I was going to do it without anesthetic.
Self hypnosis.
Yes, and the very first thing that the girl said to me was, "Oh no, you can't do that. This is going to be really sore." And she's wearing her white coat, and so there was, it's going to be really painful. So there was a suggestion straight away. Now I was able to console myself with saying she doesn't understand what I understand, so I
Good.
can reject that suggestion.
Uh-huh.
And so she started the process, and it was perfectly fine. I could feel everything. Like if you tapped your tooth, I could feel it, just minus pain. There was no pain.
Hmm.
And sometimes, and this is funny, and this is where other people are, she'd take up the needle with
So
the
that you feel
anesthetic,
it.
and she'd say, "Are you sure? Because this is going to be really sore."
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Um, Now she was quite shocked that I would say I would do that, and that I was able to manage it so well, and that straight after it I was perfectly fine. And that helped her, and that practice
Hmm.
to it just highlighted what hypnotherapy can do. And my hypnotherapy clinic was like 3 4 minutes walk down from that
Yeah.
dentist. So I got to know them a little bit more after that, and
Okay.
they started sending people to me. So they're, little by little, little steps. We might convert one person, another person, another person, and maybe if that's all we can do for now, that's all we can do. But when we come together as a unit, we can have much greater impact.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's also why Hypnotic came to existing, to bring people together, to share knowledge, to share messages about what we can do and how it can be done, and how people, when they are together, yeah, we are indeed stronger. So there are more than there are several conferences all over the world.
Mhm.
Hypnotic, until this point, has been only for Dutch speaking hypnotherapists. So you have the honor of being one of the first English speakers during the conference. But I'm sure that people understand enough English to follow your workshop and make sure that they can learn a lot. Give them that opportunity. I'm really happy you are joining us. And you are bringing a colleague also from Ireland, Carl,
Yes,
from the Dublin Hypnosis Convention that is taking place in April, right?
that's right. Yes. So if anyone is would like to travel to Dublin for the Irish Hypnotherapy
I
Conference,
am.
you're coming over.
I
Wonderful,
am coming
wonderful.
over.
Yes, and we'll have you'll have a great Irish welcome
Thank
and
you. Looking forward to that.
2 days of fun and learning and networking as well. It's a very important part of this and helping to build our businesses. And I would always say, and to your viewers out there, we don't go to the conferences just for learning. Now, the speakers are always well considered, and you'll get expert speakers coming, and that's wonderful. And you'll get exposed to these new ideas and new concepts and ideas, and experts in their field.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that even more importantly is meeting people, being there, meeting people face to face, enjoying their company, getting to know someone.
Mm-hmm.
The last conference I was at last year in Dublin, and from the one in London the year before,
Mm-hmm.
from there I've now got a few new business partners and a few good friends. So so and a few joint venture partners. So it actually can help to really accelerate your business, whether
Definitely.
you're a starter, intermediate, or advanced. No matter where you are in the process, you've got to be going to these kind of things. If
Yes.
you're not, you're missing out. And if you're missing out, it can be a lonely world, right? When you're working by yourself in your clinic, meeting people coming in and out. It's
Oh,
important
definitely.
to
Yeah.
meet people and have connection and have fun, and these are like all of our friends, right? And our families. They work in businesses and they have Christmas parties and they have nights out and they have trips away and they have all of these kind of things. We don't have that.
No.
We do now with Hypnotic, and we do with the Irish Hypnotherapy Conference and the UK one and different ones. Now we have a space where people can come together and meet and learn and have fun. Like this is going to be, these are our work days out. These are our work parties and our,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and they are fun. I went to Las Vegas also last summer for the first time to Hypnothoughts. That
Aha,
is also
yes.
great. That's why I met Carl. Yeah, it definitely is worth going to. And you are exactly right. When we are in our practice, it's just working one on one. If you are lucky, you are maybe in a group practice where there are other people.
Mhm.
But it's always this. Yeah, it's kind of lonely at times. And then Hypnotic has been founded out of that as well, or out of that desire also to connect. Because I had something like, the world must be bigger than just me with my practice and the people I have been trained with. So then it started, and I launched it, and look, now we are going international with it. So I'm really happy how it's growing, how people
Yeah.
are connecting and indeed learning from each other. I'm grateful for COVID in that respect because it opens the online world also for colleagues worldwide. And
That's
that was the
another.
time I really started my practice. So I had something like, oh, wow, there is a big world out there of people who are working with hypnosis.
So maybe it's another example of something that looked like a problem at the time, and now it's a gift.
It was definitely a gift. I'm really grateful for it. Like I'm grateful I met you a few weeks ago during a webinar as well,
Yeah.
when you were talking about your program, and I was so fascinated. And I'm really grateful that when I just called you, that you said I definitely will be in Brussels. I in Belgium. It's in
Yes.
Ghent. It's not in Brussels. It's in Ghent. On the 10th and 11th of May.
I spoke to somebody in the hotel where I was running training last weekend, and just per chance I was in the elevator and we spoke, and she said she was from Belgium, and I said, "Oh, that's very interesting. I'm traveling over there in May to speak." And she said, "Where is it you're going to?" I said, "I think it's Ghent." And she said, "Is it Genk or Ghent?"
Yes,
I
there
said, "I
are.
think it's Ghent."
It is Gens, definitely with a T.
Yes, yeah,
And I hope she's watching as well, so that she can come and join as well.
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it's lovely that you can catch up there. All right. Anything else you really wanted to share this evening? Otherwise, we can start wrapping up, because I know you really jumped out of a session and jumped into this call this evening. So,
Yeah, that's okay. I'm well used to that. Well, I will say that one of the things that I will be introducing in at Hypnotic is a transformational protocol. It's called the ICANN Transformational Protocol, that I've only taught it to 60 people last weekend, about 30 others in Dublin at a previous time. It's something that I've evolved, that I kind of realized after a while, okay, I'm doing a certain style, a certain pattern, a certain style with my clients that I can use for every client.
mhm.
And I didn't set out to evolve it, but I realized that it was getting great results. And I've got like hundreds of 5-star reviews
Wow.
based on this. And I thought, I need to codify this and I need to teach it to people, because it can be used for a beginner very, very easily.
Okay.
And I'm advanced at this stage. I'm highly experienced, and I still use it all the time because it works very well. So
Mhm.
I do look forward to introducing that to Belgium. I will be. It will be a significant part of my presentation, and even if you're just there, and like, it'll be a significant part. Even if you're just there and you hear what I'm saying on it, it'll click into your head. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the way something, when you're hearing it, it just makes sense. You don't have to like learn it off. Just the concepts. You're going, I can do that. I can actually take this and use it in my clinic.
Very good.
So I'm looking forward to introducing that to Belgium.
Yeah, we are really looking forward also to receive it in Belgium and open up the world for you, and open up the world in Belgium and the Netherlands, because it's Dutch. The organization is Benelux, so there will be people definitely from the Netherlands as well. And I hope, now that we also introduce the English language, that there might be people from other countries also starting to join. That would be great. So really looking forward to meeting you live, first in Dublin and then in Ghent.
As
And have a lovely evening. Thank you very much for this talk that stays online on Facebook, LinkedIn, and multiple channels. And hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.
wonderful. Thank you, Nelly. Thank you, everybody. Good
Bye.
evening. Bye-bye.